You've seen RC planes, but you've never seen them like this. These aren't your backyard hobby models. These aren't the tiny buzzing machines you remember from childhood. These are the biggest remote-controlled aircraft ever built. So big that some are bigger than real cars. We're talking about flying machines so massive, so incredibly detailed, and so mind-blowingly powerful that they blur the line between model and reality. So buckle up, because we're about to take flight with the 7 most massive RC planes ever constructed by human hands. But before we dive into our top 7, we need to pay respect to the titans that just barely missed the cut. Because even the honorable mentions in this world would make most RC enthusiasts weep with envy. First up, we have a Spitfire with a 12-foot wingspan that looks like it just rolled out of a World War II hangar. This beautiful beast weighs over 60 pounds and features a radial engine that sounds like authentic wartime thunder. This is an RC with detailed work so precise that historians have used it for reference photos. Yep, but despite its historical significance and stunning craftsmanship, it just couldn't quite match the sheer scale of our top contenders. Don't worry, you'll understand soon. The P-51 Mustang is an RC so large it requires a custom trailer just to transport it to flying events, with a wingspan pushing 14 feet and a price tag that could buy a decent used car. This warbird replica took its builder over 1,800 hours to complete, and it's so detailed that every rivet, every panel line, and every detail has been painstakingly recreated. It's a museum piece that happens to fly, but still not quite big enough for our main event. And finally, we can't forget the RC C-130 Hercules, which is so massive it needs 4 people just to carry it to the runway. This cargo plane replica features 4 functioning turboprop engines and a wingspan that could span 2 parking spaces. The sound alone is enough to stop traffic, and watching it lumber through the sky with that distinctive Hercules profile is nothing short of mesmerizing. These were all incredible achievements in RC aviation, but they're just the warm-up act. Because what's coming next will redefine your understanding of what's possible in the world of remote-controlled flight. Coming in at number 7, we have a Boeing 747. That proves sometimes bigger really is better. This isn't just an RC plane, it's a flying insanity that shows human ambition and perhaps a touch of beautiful madness. With a wingspan stretching an incredible 16 feet, which by the way is longer than most living rooms. This Queen of the Skies replica weighs a staggering 150 pounds when fully fueled. But that's just the beginning. 4 functioning jet turbines provide the thrust, creating a sound that can be heard from miles away. The iconic hump, the distinctive nose profile, the precise livery, every detail screams authenticity. The builder, a retired aerospace engineer, spent over 3 years and approximately $25,000 creating this masterpiece. The landing gear alone took 6 months to perfect, featuring fully functional hydraulics that would make Boeing engineers nod in approval. But here's what's truly mind-blowing. This 747 requires a ground crew of 4 people and a specially modified runway. This thing is crazy in that when it takes off, spectators instinctively step back. Not because it's dangerous, but because your brain simply cannot process something this large moving through the air under remote control. The maiden flight drew crowds from 3 states and required special clearance from local aviation authorities. And watching it perform its graceful turns and approaches, yeah, it's like witnessing physics bend to the will of pure craftsmanship. Moving on to number 6, we have a piece of flying history that brings the past roaring back to life. The RC Avro Lancaster Bomber, so authentic it could fool you from a distance. This wartime legend replica boasts a 20-foot wingspan and tips the scales at nearly 200 pounds. That's heavier than most motorcycles. For this monster, 4 meticulously crafted radial engines provide the power, each one individually tuned to create that distinctive Lancaster rumble that once filled the skies over Europe. The level of historical accuracy in this RC is breathtaking. Every gun turret, every panel line, and every rivet was researched and recreated with museum-quality precision. To do this, the builder consulted aviation historians, studied original blueprints, and even interviewed Lancaster veterans to ensure complete authenticity. Construction took an incredible 4.5 years, with an estimated cost exceeding $40,000. The paint scheme alone required over 100 hours of hand brushing to achieve the proper wartime finish. And those engines, each one costs more than most people's entire RC collections. But the real magic happens when it takes to the sky. The sound is hauntingly beautiful, a deep rhythmic thrumming that speaks of courage, sacrifice, and the golden age of aviation. It's so authentic that spectators often fall silent when it passes overhead, lost in memories of stories their grandfathers told. This isn't just an RC plane, it's a flying memorial, a piece of living history that honors the brave crews who flew the original into harm's way. At number 5, we've got a machine that embodies raw, unbridled power. The RC A-10 Thunderbolt II, better known as the Warthog. This thing isn't just big, it's intimidating in a way that makes you respect the engineering behind modern military aviation. With a 15-foot wingspan and weighing 180 pounds, this beast features twin-jet turbines producing a sound so distinctive, so powerful, that it literally rattles windows. The characteristic whine building to a thunderous roar is enough to give seasoned pilots goosebumps. But it's not just about the sound, it's about the presence. The A-10's iconic silhouette with engines mounted high on the fuselage, and that massive nose housing the legendary GAU-8 cannon, creates an aircraft that commands respect even in miniature form. The build process was an exercise in precision engineering. These twin turbines required custom mounting systems and specialized fuel management. The landing gear was designed for rough field operations, featuring massive tires and reinforced struts to handle less than perfect runways. This thing doesn't just fly, it prowls through the air with the same purposeful, slightly menacing attitude as its full-sized military counterpart, with low, slow passes that create a sound signature that stops people in their tracks, and high-speed runs showing why the A-10 has earned its fearsome reputation. It was impossible not to include it on this list. Oh, by the way, this thing cost north of $35,000 and over 2,000 hours of build time. But watching this mechanical predator slice through the sky makes every penny and every sleepless night worth it. Number 4 brings us face to face with military aviation excellence in miniature form. The RC C-17 Globemaster III, flying with the same commanding presence as its full-sized military counterpart. The cargo plane Colossus features a jaw-dropping 22-foot wingspan and weighs an incredible 250 pounds fully loaded. To fly this, 4 turbofan engines provide the thrust, creating a sound both powerful and surprisingly refined, exactly what you'd expect from a modern military transport. The attention to detail is staggering. Every aspect of the real C-17's design has been faithfully reproduced. The distinctive T-tail configuration, the massive cargo door that actually opens, the complex high-lift wing design for short field operations, and even functional reverse thrust capability. Construction required over 5 years, and cost estimates approach $60,000. The builder, a former Air Force mechanic, brought real-time experience to every detail. The landing gear system alone took 8 months to perfect, featuring Oleo pneumatic shock absorption principles from the actual aircraft. But here's what sets this apart. It doesn't just look like a C-17, it performs like one. Short takeoffs, steep climbs, and that characteristic military transport flight profile were all faithfully reproduced. Watching it lumber into the air with that distinctive nose-high attitude is like witnessing a small piece of the Air Force at your local flying field. Get this, the maiden flight required coordination with air traffic control and drew aviation enthusiasts from across the region. And once again, the sound, pure military aviation poetry in motion. Taking the bronze medal at number 3, we have aviation's most beautiful mistake brought back to life, the RC Concorde. More than anything on this list, this isn't just big, it's sophisticated beyond belief. With a 16-foot wingspan and that unmistakable delta wing silhouette, this Concorde replica represents perhaps the most challenging RC build ever attempted. I mean, the swept-back wings, the drooping nose, the complex engine arrangement. Every element that made the original Concorde a masterpiece has been faithfully reproduced. Sure, it can't fly supersonic, but come on, the technical challenges were immense. Supersonic aircraft don't translate easily to RC scale. The center of gravity issues, the complex flight characteristics, and the need for precise control authority all made this build a years-long engineering puzzle. 4 microturbine engines provide the power, but it's the flight characteristics that truly impress. This Concorde doesn't just fly, it soars, with that distinctive grace that made the original the queen of the skies. To help simulate supersonic flow, the high-speed passes create a sound that's pure poetry, a whistling building to a crescendo as it flashes by. Build time, over 6 years. Cost, well, rumors suggest figures approaching $80,000. The paint scheme alone was a whole production, recreating the iconic British Airways livery with hand-painted registration numbers and logos, taking months to complete. But watching it perform graceful barrel rolls and high-speed passes, seeing that Delta silhouette slice through the sky with unmatched elegance, it's like witnessing the ghost of aviation's most glamorous era. At number 2, we have a machine that embodies the raw power of Cold War aviation, the RC B-52 Stratofortress. The strategic bomber replica is massive beyond comprehension, with a wingspan stretching an incredible 25 feet. That's wider than most garages, and weighing over 300 pounds fully fueled. This isn't just an RC plane, it's a piece of aerospace history that happens to be remotely controlled. 8, count them, 8 functioning jet turbines provide the power. When all 8 engines spool up simultaneously, the sound is nothing short of apocalyptic. It's a deep rumbling roar that you don't just hear, you feel it in your chest, in your bones, in your very soul. Spectators have been known to cover their ears even from hundreds of yards away. As you would expect, the engineering challenges were staggering. 8 engines mean 8 fuel systems, 8 control systems, and 8 potential failure points. The builder, working with a team of engineers, spent over 7 years perfecting this monster. The wing structure alone required aerospace-grade materials and construction techniques to handle the stress of 8 turbines. As if that wasn't enough, cost estimates exceed $100,000, making this one of the most expensive RC aircraft ever built. But the flight characteristics justify every penny. This B-52 doesn't just take off, it demonstrates raw power that makes you understand why this aircraft has been the backbone of strategic aviation for over half a century. Watching it perform low passes is an experience bordering on the spiritual. The sound builds from a whisper to a rumble to an earth-shattering roar that makes you realize why they call the B-52 Buff, the big ugly fat fellow that's beautiful in its overwhelming presence. And finally, at number 1, we present the undisputed king of RC aviation, the Airbus A380 Super Jumbo. Okay, so the rest were massive, but this isn't just the biggest RC plane ever built, it should be impossible. With a wingspan of 28 feet, longer than most swimming pools, and weighing an incredible 400 pounds fully loaded. This A380 required a team of engineers and took nearly a decade to complete. 4 massive turbofan engines provide over 200 pounds of combined thrust. The sound signature is unlike anything in the RC world, a deep, powerful whoosh that speaks of massive airflow and serious engineering. Basically, when all 4 engines spool up for takeoff, the ground literally vibrates. The technical achievements are staggering: functioning flaps, slats, and spoilers, a detailed cockpit with working instruments, landing gear that required custom hydraulic systems, even the distinctive double-decker fuselage that has been faithfully reproduced with proper structural engineering. Construction required a dedicated hangar, specialized equipment, and a team approach. The estimated cost exceeds $150,000, with over 10,000 man-hours invested in construction. The paint scheme alone, recreating the Lufthansa livery with hand-applied decals and precise color matching, took an entire year to complete. But the real magic happens when this giant takes to the sky. Despite its massive size, it flies with grace and stability that made the real A380 a passenger favorite. This was basically a 400-pound aircraft that took off and touched down as gently as a feather. The maiden flight drew crowds from around the world. Aviation magazines covered it. Even Airbus engineers came to witness this incredible achievement. And watching it climb away from the runway, seeing those 4 engines working in perfect harmony to lift nearly half a ton of aircraft into the sky, it's a moment that redefines what's possible in the world of remote-controlled aviation. So, there you have it, 7 of the biggest RC planes ever built. But here's the crazy thing. Every single one of these aircraft was built by individuals or small teams driven purely by passion. No corporate budgets, no government contracts. Just people who saw the impossible and decided to make it reality. So, the next time someone tells you RC planes are just toys, show them this video. Show them the B-52 with 8 screaming turbines. Show them the A380 that weighs as much as 2 motorcycles. Show them what happens when human imagination refuses to accept limitations. Because in the end, these aircraft prove something profound. That the only difference between impossible and inevitable is the dedication of someone willing to spend a decade proving everyone wrong. With that said, what's your favorite giant from our list? Have you seen any of these incredible machines in person? Drop a comment below and let us know which one made your jaw drop the hardest. And if you loved diving into the world of extreme RC aviation, make sure to hit that subscribe button because trust me, we're just getting started exploring the incredible world of remote-controlled flight. Until next time, keep looking up. You never know when you might spot a 400-pound RC Super Jumbo cruising overhead.